believe. 73. Think, feel, and believe. 73. 73. 73. Think, feel, and believe. 73. Think, feel, and believe. 73. And this is, you should know by now. You should know by now if you've been listening to these videos like I've been telling you to do, listening to them and going 1, 2, 3, 4, and listening to them in succession. Listen to them in succession, like you done raiding a boat. Like you done raiding a boat. You want to watch these videos and listen to them in succession, you know? And while you're at it, you want to go to select.me. Yeah, go to select.me. Just kind of enter that into your browser and push enter. Enter. A bunch of stuff's going to be there. Videos, I mean, you know, just depending on when by now, a bunch of stuff's going to be there. A lot of other subjects and things, you know, like it and share it, share and share alike. So, this could really be kind of like a, I don't know, I read this little statement here about this could apply to a very broad perspective in many different areas. But if we're looking at the basics of it, in what I'm about to say, what I'm about to tell you here, what I'm going to tell you here is that no matter what it is, to an extent, you know what I mean? I mean, it's some degree or level of another, you know, some degree or level of another. If you really want to create change or accomplish your goals. I mean, creating change or accomplishing goals. If you really want to create change or accomplish your goals, you're going to have to face your fears. At some point or another, there's going to be some sort of fear. There's going to be some sort of grind. You may not think, that's not really a fear. I mean, that's not really a fear, you know. It is. It is when you go down to the, you know, because what's the thing that people don't like doing the most? Change. And why don't people like change? Why don't people like change? Because of fear that things are going to be different, right? And then having to adjust to it. And what's that going to be like? What's that? The uncertainty. It's the uncertainty. When there's an uncertainty, there's a fear, right? I mean, we can just kind of boil that down to the basic. When there's fear, when there's an uncertainty, it's fear. So if you really want to accomplish your goals and you want to try to create change in your life by doing these things, by changing your thought life and what you're thinking, what you're saying, and which is translating into feelings, which is then translating into beliefs. If you want to create that change, it's going to be lasting. It's going to be lasting. I mean, if you wanted to lose weight, right? And what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to start thinking, feeling, believing. You're going to have to start creating thinking and feelings and beliefs towards how you feel about food and what you're doing with it. Huh? One of the first things, I know this is a little bit off the subject, you're going to have to change. There's things you're going to have to change. One of the things that I changed, I think was good. Stop going to the little fast food places and getting you a little something. You know, you got to take actions as far as that kind of stuff is concerned. But anyway, that's not what we're really here to talk about. That's just the sheer simple fact of what the subject that we're on is you're going to have to face your fears and your worries and your doubts and concerns if you want to create change in your life. If you want to attain anything in your life, you're going to have to face your fears. Now, That sometimes can be easier said than done. I get it. I understand. Because when, there's things that happen in our lives that get instilled in us from a very young age, they become beliefs about ourselves, about the way things are, however it is. I mean, I grew up with what won't work and what you can't do. I mean, that was just a consistent... There's just a consistent message that I got. What won't work and what you can't do. And anytime that I ever got a little hair said what I think it's gone. Yeah. Oh gosh. Just the emotional experience that I felt right there. What won't work and what you can't do. So it was always. It was always. Everything was always defeated all the time. Every time I tried to bring up anything that I could possibly do. I remember one time I got this, there was this little postcard about that, if you come to our, whatever it was, meeting or whatever it is, and it was basically a timeshare meeting. If you come to the timeshare, you'll get a free TV and you're entered into maybe winning a car or something like that, but guaranteed to win one prize. I remember taking one of those postcards and showing it to my parents, and 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 then later on in life, and then feeling kind of defeated again. What won't work and what you can't do. All right. And feeling defeated by it, knowing that I'm reading black and white. I mean, how can you sit there and try to tell me that, it's just a lie or whatever the rhetoric was? And then one time early in my 20s, I just happened to be on the East Coast. I was in the Navy, and I got one, and I was staying off-base housing, and I got one of these postcards in the mail, and you know what? It was like, I'm going, and so we went, we drove I don't know how long we drove when we got there, and we went through a little timeshare presentation, and we walked out of there with a little TV, So, that's a pretty simple kind of sort of, now, but I still had to drive there, and I still had to go there, and I still didn't know there was going to happen, but I was still going to go by what it said on the postcard, and I was still going to do it, and I was still going to make that drive, and I was still going to show up, regardless of whatever, doubts that I had in the past. I was going to show up, and it was like, it sounds kind of silly. Really sounds kind of silly. Really sounds kind of silly, but it was like, kind of sort of in a strange way, it was like one of the first victories in my life to prove wrong everything that I had been raised on and instilled in me. So where we're backing up to be is the fact that a lot of things that can be placed on ourselves in our lives from early childhood, or maybe you a little child now, maybe you a little child now, maybe you a little child, maybe young child, maybe you teenager. Are you a teenager? Maybe you're a young adult. It doesn't matter who you are, because we're all human beings. We're all human beings. And so, because all of these videos apply to humanity. Okay? If you're a human being and you're watching this, then then this applies to you. This applies to everybody. Because you can start to change if you're a child, and maybe you kind of got a bad situation by, from, why can't you always be like your sister? And then me having to compare myself to my sister and everything. If I'd have known now what I'd known then, I might have said, because I'm not my sister, and started to change my thought process at that age, because, I got shoved in a very deep hole. Had to dig myself out. Took me years. Praise God for all of the release from the bondage that I was under from all those things, and primarily because of me changing how I thought, felt, and believed about all of it. But through the process of all this, having to face my fears, my doubts, my worries, my concerns, having to face all those things and just moving forward in faith, and moving forward in faith, and moving forward in faith. Letting go of all of this and realizing that, that things can be different. Things don't have to be the same as what other people are trying to put on you, or other circumstances, or whatever it is. You're just simply going to have to know that, it's facing your fears, facing your concerns, facing your doubts, changing your beliefs. It's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it.